I mean, I agree that fraud detection is a big area where AI has definitely made a big difference.
Right.
But people who do fraud are also using AI.
Yes.
So it's that age where AI versus AI is still going on. I mean, if banks are using, then people who do fraud are also using now, right? So
Right. That's
so
a
who
catch
becomes
22.
who becomes who becomes more smarter now?
Uh,
Yeah. So it's also interesting you said you went ahead with a startup to work with. And were there any decisions that helped you go with a startup versus a really big company there?
Yeah, so, we wanted someone to work with us,
Mm,
closely and do what we are asking for, right? So, with many bigger companies, right, you may not get as much of a push to what
mm,
you are looking for, right? So, if you try to push back, like, I have like so many clients, I'm not going to just make this change for you what you want to do, right? I have more
mm.
scale. I don't care if you want to come and, I have enough clients for my bread and butter business, right?
Correct.
Versus if you start with smaller companies, they're more willing to accommodate and be more flexible and work more closely with you on what you're looking for. And I think that was the most important thing for us is we do have a lot of customizations and things like that. So we wanted to make sure we go with someone
Mm,
who can work closely with us and make changes or do things what we really want to do and be a partner with us
got
on that
it.
journey. So that was the reason we went with a startup
Start.
company rather than with a bigger company.
Okay. I mean, I that's very true. With startup, they can be a partner with you for
Right.
your end-to-end journey, right?
Yes. Yeah.
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 Um, I know the next question, my question would be with these AI applications, how are you measuring the ROI? Or have you, do you feel you have got the ROI with whatever implementations that have happened and are in production?
Yeah, that's very hard, right, to measure.
I
um,
know.
the actual value that you're getting out of it, right? I would say, if I were to measure the ROI, right, on the, it's
Mm,
mainly the adoption, right?
okay.
Like what, because like many companies say yes, AI, right? And you start with a pilot phase, but
Mm,
then it dies there, right? Because they just don't trust AI to do those decisions, right? And they are
correct.
scared and afraid to implement it in production, thinking that things could go wrong, right?
Right.
So I think the important field, I would say, I mean, of course, your financial ROI is important, right? Like any organization.
Correct.
But for for AI success, the way I look at it is, the trust and adoption
Mm,
of this, because that is what is going to make the long term impact for the company, not just cost saving or a revenue lift, right? Um,
correct.
and the compliance, especially for banks and credit unions, financial institutions, right? Compliance is a big thing, right? So if AI has proved itself to be compliant, right? Whatever decision making output you're getting, otherwise you could get in big trouble, right? From a regulatory point of view, if those decisions are compliant, and
Mhm.
you have automated it to a point where the people, the employees trust and adopt it, I would think that's a win, right? That's how I would think about the ROI, not just from a financial point of view, but
Yeah.
from an outcome point of view.
Okay. So adoption is one of the big metrics to consider, right?
Yes, yes, adoption and trust, right? Like the earlier conversation we had, like if you don't
Mhm.
trust those decisions, you will never go live, right? Which then leads to
Correct.
your adoption model.
Right, right. I mean, we have in some cases when we are using all these Chat GPT, Claude, or so many of them for personal use, we have come to trust them quite a bit in some
Mm.
cases, right? I mean, I see in we don't verify as often as we did before when we started. So, how is in that in a credit union kind of thing or a finance thing, these they do take much longer time than what we do on a personal level. Is that how you're seeing, or is it they have come to rely as well?
Yes, like I mentioned, for the fraud, I
Mm.
think there's on the areas of implementation, fraud is one where I think the adoption has become quite a lot. And it's
Okay,
continuing to increase, right? To your point, that using ChatGPT, now people are trusting. And also, you have to think like, as people are using more, the models are also becoming better, right? So
correct.
you are getting more quality output than, say, 5 or 6 years back, right?
Right, right.
And I think same thing applies, right, with slowly adopting, right? Like fraud is one application, right, that
Yes,
is like, so adoptable. And then like the chatbots, I think now every company is using AI for that, right?
correct.
Any website you see, you have chatbots, available, which are all
Yes,
AI driven, right? So I think these are few of the things from a functional point of view, low risk, right? Because you have, again, the tiered approach I was talking about, that has, now a shift where companies now are trusting these models and
right.
adopting these models. And I think we'll continue to grow from there. And maybe, like I was mentioning, even in the high risk areas, slowly as the models also get become better, we will have much more adoption down the road.
Okay, so what do you think for next 3 to 5 years ahead when we look at it? Where will we all be with AI and credit union? We would have, I guess, we would have moved beyond fraud, where we
Yes.
started with. Any ideas how much more work the AI would be doing?
Yeah, I mean, I think at that point of time, I would think, right, as I was mentioning, as these models become better, right, there will be more automation on a lot of these, decisions that we are making. So uh, I still think within that 3 to 5 years time frame, AI would be a decision support system still, I would think, not a decision maker, right? In some cases, right? So, uh, so AI can replace human judgment and make decisions autonomously, right? But there would be like still situations, I'm thinking only the next 3 to 5 years, where you still need some level of human intelligence to make that decision, right? I don't think so in 3 to 5 years we will be at a point where it would completely replace human intelligence. But I think you will look at lot more adaptability across all organizations. and beyond fraud for sure. So some of the medium risk decision tiers today that are there, where you have to just approve for a matter of fact, could be automated. But some of the high risk where you have that decision to make, they might be partially automated, but I still think even with 3 to 5 years you will need that
Yeah.
level of human intervention.
Yeah, to reach the AGI thing, it's a long time, but
Right.
I guess the work will look a lot different from what we are doing right now, right?
Yes, I would think the systems will be more integrated and real time, right? So a lot of the AI things will be embedded in our processes and workflows, which are siloed today, right? So
Right.
we have the AI doing this, but then we do things on the silo, we have to copy and paste, right? So we'll have more integration and real time data, more explainable and auditable data, right? Because that is really important for us to take to the next step. Like I was saying, right? Without something that you cannot explain or audit, right, will be a
Correct.
red flag for financial institutions. So I think we will have more of those things where things could be more explainable, integrated, and real time and predictive, right? So we can proactively manage things and do compliance with those things rather than reactive, right? In some of the cases that we have to handle today.
Um, it's been a great discussion, Nupur. Really enjoyed this. Before we conclude, one last question would be, what's that one common misconception about AI in finance that you would like to dispel?
Um, yeah, I think the one common misconception for AI is not trusting the decision. I think that's the most common fear that we have that stops us from taking the leap, right? To make that from pilot to production implementation, right? So I think if we overcome our fears and of course take steps towards that goal in a more regulated and controlled way, I think we will be able to make much more progress because many organizations have proved that, right?
Correct.
Today banks have proved it, right? So it's just a matter of time, um, and thinking beyond that will help companies to move forward in the right direction and see the growth, and the time saving, and that they will get out of implementing and using this, right? So I think that's the biggest thing, right? Especially for financial institutions, because they're scared to take that leap of faith because of, regulatory and things like that. But just take that calculated risk in a controlled way, and that will get them there.
Great. This has been a very interesting discussion. Thank you so much for all your inputs. These are definitely exciting times for all of us. The whole work structure is
Yes.
changing, I guess, right?
That is for sure, yes. I mean, today, people, we talk about, I'll just say this before I leave, about layoffs and things like that, right? But we have to think different, right? The bigger thing is AI, right? And it's not that it's going to take away jobs from you, but it's going to give you something more and different to
Right.
work on, rather than something monotonous work or things like that, right? So So you just have to be creative and, think about how you can leverage AI for the benefit of a better work that you can be doing, right? So I think that's just a shift that people have to make in their mindset.
I agree totally. I think this is the time, probably 2026 is the year. It's taking some jobs away, it's creating some jobs, and people have to adapt to those new jobs, I guess.
Right, exactly. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much, Nupur. It was great having you. And
Thank you as well for taking the time to, bring me in the show. I really appreciate it. It was fun, really, talking to you.
thank you, everyone. Thanks for watching. Bye
Thank
bye.
you.